You see them on the roads more and more these days. Chinese cars. They're not just a rare sight anymore. They're becoming a staple on highways and city streets alike. They ain't just cheap, they're everywhere. From bustling urban centers to quiet suburban neighborhoods, Chinese cars are making their mark. But how do they do it? How do Chinese automakers crank out cars at prices that'd make your grandpappy's jaw drop? It's not just about low costs, it's about efficiency and innovation. Well, buckle up, because we're about to dive into the heart of China's car-making machine. It's a story of rapid growth, technological advancements, and strategic planning. For years, China's been playing catch-up in the auto world, but lately, they've been putting the pedal to the metal. They've shifted gears from being mere followers to becoming leaders in the industry. They're not just building cars, they're building them smarter, faster, and cheaper than a lot of folks thought possible. Advanced robotics, state-of-the-art assembly lines, and a relentless focus on quality have set them apart. And that's got the whole world sitting up and taking notice. International markets are opening up, and Chinese cars are no longer just a domestic phenomenon. Now, I ain't no economist, but I know a thing or two about hard work and ingenuity. The rise of Chinese cars is a testament to what can be achieved with determination and a clear vision. And let me tell you, the folks building cars in China, they're working hard and smart. Engineers, designers, and factory workers are all part of a well-oiled machine that's driving this automotive revolution. They're finding ways to cut costs without cutting corners, and that's a lesson we can all learn from. By leveraging economies of scale, investing in research and development, and maintaining a keen eye on quality control, they've managed to create a product that's both affordable and reliable. Consumers are responding positively, flocking to dealerships and showing a growing preference for these vehicles. It's a shift that's reshaping the global automotive landscape. As Chinese cars continue to gain traction worldwide, it's clear that this is just the beginning. The future of the automotive industry is being written in China, and it's a story worth paying attention to. So next time you see a Chinese car on the road, remember, it's not just a car, it's a symbol of a nation's drive, innovation, and ambition. And who knows, maybe one day you'll be driving one too. To get the lowdown on how the Chinese are winning the car game, I reached out to the experts at Caresoft Global Technologies. These folks are at the forefront of automotive innovation, and they have a knack for uncovering the secrets behind the success of various car manufacturers. These guys are like the Sherlock Holmes of the auto industry. They dissect cars and figure out exactly how they're made. They don't just look at the surface, they dive deep into the mechanics, the materials, and the technology that goes into each vehicle. Caresoft's been tearing down Chinese cars and comparing them to their Western counterparts, and they found some pretty interesting stuff. It's not just about copying designs, it's about understanding and improving upon them. They've discovered that the Chinese manufacturers are incredibly efficient. They focus on making small, incremental improvements that collectively make a big difference. It's a strategy that allows them to produce high-quality cars at a lower cost. Turns out the secret sauce ain't just one thing, it's a whole bunch of small tweaks and innovations that add up to big savings. For instance, they might use a slightly different material that's cheaper but just as durable, or they might streamline a manufacturing process to save time and money. Think of it like this. Imagine trying to bake a cake for a fraction of the cost. You wouldn't use cheaper flour, you'd just use a little less of it. You'd find ways to make the most of what you have without compromising on the final product. That's what the Chinese are doing. They're finding ways to use less of the expensive stuff without sacrificing quality. They're optimizing every aspect of the production process, from the materials they use to the way they assemble the cars. This approach not only makes their cars more affordable, but also allows them to compete on a global scale. It's a fascinating blend of innovation, efficiency, and strategic thinking. And it's something that other car manufacturers around the world are starting to take notice of. So the next time you see a Chinese car on the road, remember that there's a lot more to it than meets the eye. It's the result of countless hours of research, development, and a relentless pursuit of perfection. And thanks to companies like Caresoft, we're getting an inside look at how it's all done. It's an exciting time for the automotive industry, and with the insights from Caresoft, we can expect even more innovations and advancements in the future. Stay tuned for more inside scoops and behind-the-scenes looks at the world of car manufacturing. Take something as simple as a car door. Caresoft found that some Chinese automakers are using adhesive strips instead of rare earth magnets to hold the door trim in place. Now, rare earth magnets, they're strong and reliable, but they're also pricey. Adhesive, on the other hand, is cheap and plentiful, and guess what? It gets the job done just as well for holding door trim. It's a small change, but multiply that by thousands of cars, and you're talking real money. And this ain't just some fly-by-night operation. These Chinese automakers, they've tested the heck out of these adhesives. They gotta make sure they can handle the heat, the cold, the vibrations, all the abuse a car door goes through. It ain't just about using less expensive materials, it's about using them smarter. Take the rear crossbar in a car, the piece that connects the back suspension. Caresoft found that some Chinese cars are using a solid steel bar, while some Western models use a hollow tube. Now you might think, hold on, ain't hollow weaker? And you'd be right, but here's the thing. The Chinese engineers designed the car so that solid bar is strong enough for the job. They didn't overbuild it, they built it right. And then there's the A-pillar bolts, the ones that hold the windshield in place. Caresoft discovered that some Chinese cars use fewer bolts than their Western counterparts. Again, they designed the structure so that fewer, strategically placed bolts provide all the strength they need. Section 5. Government guidance. Setting the standards. Another reason Chinese cars are so affordable is the role of the government. See, the Chinese government, they're all about boosting their domestic auto industry. They've invested heavily in research and development, and they've created policies that encourage innovation and efficiency. One way they've done this is by setting standards for car parts. By encouraging manufacturers to use standardized components, they've created economies of scale. When you're making the same parts for multiple car companies, you can produce them more efficiently and drive down the cost. Think of it like building a house. If every house on the block used the same size doors and windows, wouldn't it be cheaper to build them all? That's the basic idea here. Now, you might think that government involvement would stifle competition, but it's actually had the opposite effect. The Chinese auto market is incredibly competitive, with dozens of domestic brands all vying for a piece of the pie. This fierce competition has led to a breakneck pace of innovation. Chinese automakers are constantly trying to one-up each other with new features, better technology, and lower prices. It's a recipe for success, and it's one of the main reasons they've been able to catch up to, and in some cases, surpass, their Western rivals. The Chinese, they ain't afraid to try new things, to experiment, and to push the boundaries of what's possible. They know that in the fast-paced world of automobiles, if you snooze, you lose. Another way Chinese automakers are keeping costs down is by sharing platforms. Now, a platform is basically the foundation of a car, the chassis, the engine, the transmission, all the expensive bits. Instead of each company designing their own platform from scratch, some Chinese automakers are sharing them. This allows them to spread the development costs over a larger number of vehicles, which means lower prices for everyone. Think of it like building a skyscraper. The foundation is the most expensive part, but once it's built, you can build all sorts of different buildings on top of it. Apartments, offices, you name it. The success of the Chinese auto industry ain't going unnoticed. Chinese cars are being exported to countries all over the world, and they're quickly gaining a reputation for being affordable, reliable, and increasingly stylish. In 2023, China overtook Japan as the world's largest exporter of cars. That's right, they're now shipping out more vehicles than anyone else on the planet. And with their focus on electric vehicles and autonomous driving technology, they're well positioned to dominate the future of transportation. The world's taking notice of China's automotive prowess, and it's sending ripples through the entire industry. So what does the rise of the Chinese auto industry mean for the rest of the world? It's a question that's been on the minds of many industry experts and consumers alike. The rapid growth and innovation coming out of China are reshaping the landscape of the global auto market in ways we couldn't have imagined just a decade ago. Well, for starters, it means that consumers have more choices than ever before. The influx of Chinese-made vehicles has expanded the variety of options available to buyers, from budget-friendly models to high-tech electric cars. This increased competition is driving down prices and making it easier for people to find a car that fits their needs and budget. They can choose from a wider range of vehicles at more competitive prices. This is particularly beneficial for first-time car buyers and those looking to upgrade without breaking the bank. The affordability of these new options is making car ownership more accessible to a broader audience. But it also means that traditional automakers are facing some stiff competition. Established brands that once dominated the market are now being challenged by these new entrants. They can no longer rest on their laurels and charge a premium for their products. The pressure is on for them to step up their game. They can no longer rest on their laurels and charge a premium for their products. The luxury segment in particular is feeling the heat as Chinese manufacturers start to produce high-quality vehicles that rival those of Western brands. This shift is forcing traditional automakers to rethink their strategies and find new ways to attract and retain customers. They need to innovate, they need to adapt, and they need to find ways to become more efficient if they want to stay ahead of the curve. This means investing in new technologies, improving production processes, and focusing on sustainability. The race to develop the next big thing in automotive technology is more intense than ever. The global auto industry is undergoing a seismic shift, and China is at the forefront of this transformation. With massive investments in research and development, Chinese companies are leading the way in electric and autonomous vehicle technology. Their commitment to innovation is setting new standards for the industry. The days of Western dominance are over. The balance of power is shifting, and Western automakers must adapt to this new reality. They need to collaborate, innovate, and compete on a global scale if they want to remain relevant in this rapidly changing market. The future of mobility is here, and it's looking increasingly Chinese. From electric cars to self-driving vehicles, the innovations coming out of China are shaping the future of transportation. These advancements are not only changing the way we drive, but also how we think about mobility as a whole. Buckle up, folks. It's going to be a wild ride. The journey ahead is filled with exciting possibilities and challenges. As the auto industry continues to evolve, one thing is certain: the future of mobility will be dynamic, diverse, and